Hello everybody, Jim here, and I just got back from seeing War for the Planet of the Apes. And all I can say about this movie is fan-frickin-tastic. The previous one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, that came out in 2014, was my favorite movie of 2014. And if you loved Dawn of the Planet of the Apes as much as I did, you will also love this one just as much. Matt Reeves returns to direct it. After the fantastic job he did in the last movie, it would have been really hard for him to possibly top it. And I don't know if he's quite topped Dawn or not. This really does feel like just a natural continuation of it, but it pretty much does equal what came before. The special effects work tops what the previous movie did ever so slightly, but both had really phenomenal effects work, and they're oftentimes look very, very close to being photorealistic representations of these animals. And there's a lot of great scenes where they stand next to human actors, and they really blend very seamlessly. Possibly because they're animals and not humans. Possibly it's not quite as jarring as like the computer animated Tarkin in Star Wars Rogue One, but they blend together, I thought, incredibly well. And as before, Andy Serkis's performance as Caesar is absolutely superb, both his vocal and his motion capture. The artists at Weta really know what they're doing. They really can push photorealistic animation to its limits and really give you a great performance from this animated character who's voiced and moved by an actor working on this set. And what I can say about this movie is just how intense it is. The title's a little bit misleading. When you title the movie War for the Planet of the Apes, you think this would be like a human versus ape war movie where they were constantly fighting all these big battle sequences, and there are a couple of those, but they're more brief. Most of this movie is kind of like a capture-escape thriller. I know the title Escape from the Planet of the Apes was already taken, so they couldn't use that. But honestly, that title would have fit the layout of this movie better than the word war would have. But whatever, there is war in it, and it still is all really cool. And that's the thing about this movie. It's consistently intense, consistently tragic. Like, it is willing to really tug at the audience's heartstrings, and it really lives in a world where no character is safe, where bad things can happen to anyone. And Woody Harrelson's performance as the main villain of this movie is really quite chilling. Like, you really sense in him someone who just was completely broken by losing everything to this viral outbreak that happened in the previous two movies, and you really see him as just a vicious grunt of a man. Whereas I kind of like how this one has more humans as the villains, whereas the last one kind of Kobo the ape was a villain. But it also has ape villains as well, which was kind of more of an odd element. You have this one gorilla named Donkey, obviously a nod to Donkey Kong, kind of a clever little nod they threw in there, who for some reason works for the humans, because I guess they promised him more, and he was like a follower of Koba, which was kind of an interesting twist, and that the humans who are oppressing these apes will also have an ape on their side, kind of as their muscle, because most other ape species are a lot stronger than we are, so they would kind of need someone to really, if they never needed to restrain one, it would be difficult for humans to do that. But if you have an ape working for you, he can be your muscle. And he definitely has some intense moments. The violence in this movie also really pushes its PG-13 rating. This is very much an adult movie. A lot of the movie is done in sign language with very minimal dialogue. It's often stunning how little dialogue happens in long scenes of this movie. For a big-budget summer blockbuster, that is a very rare thing to happen. A lot of summer blockbusters, Michael Bay, feel the need to just constantly throw shit at the audience in an ADD fashion. This one really trusts the audience to get what's going on through pantomiming, occasional subtitles, and occasionally they'll speak a few sentences. But there's not like excessive dialogue. It really trusts that you can just follow what's going on just from looking what's on screen. It trusts the audience's intelligence, and that's what this movie really is. It is a thinking man's sci-fi thriller. It's a sci-fi thriller that both has the same post-apocalyptic themes of the Planet of the Apes series has always had, The Planet of the Apes has always kind of been grim sci-fi. It essentially originates in the 60s during the Cold War, and there's always been a theme of man is destined to destroy himself, and possibly, if we do, another species may rise up in our place and subjugate us. But not a likely thing to happen, obviously, but it's a very interesting sci-fi idea, and if it's written well, it can be really good. Rod Serling's script from the original was, of course, very written well, which is why the movie still holds up despite, obviously, the incredibly dated effects. And this new trilogy, I'm not sure if this is the last of the Planet of the Apes movies in the series. I hope it isn't. I really hope it maybe jumps forward thousands of years and we get a more traditional Planet of the Apes movie that's built on what Caesar built, maybe like a civilization with a massive statue of Caesar, of someone who lived thousands of years ago. That could be actually really cool. Or maybe, in the future, Caesar will become a religious figure like Jesus, and there'll be various ape religions. There's so many possibilities to really continue this series from where it is now. But if this is the last of this series, it's a phenomenal ending that really wraps up the basic story of this trilogy very well. And this whole trilogy has been one of the best trilogies in modern cinema. Rise was really good. Dawn was even better. And this one pretty much matches Dawn. So really, if you're really looking for a thinking man science fiction movie, an intense thriller, an effects blockbuster that has respect for its audience, you really need to support this movie. This is a movie that really should be appreciated. This is a movie we don't get enough of, and a movie we really should get more of. A really visceral experience at the movies, with deep thoughts, deep questions, and characters you genuinely care about, even if they don't speak very often. So go check this movie out, everybody. Have a great night, everybody.